Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Pegasus Grande Rimini. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with black lever that you have to have pulled up like so, where you can then wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing it to snap down, pushing up that red button and exposing a green ring. You then have your breakaway cable just here. Now legality states if you have an eye point it has to be used. If not, wrap it around the tow bar. The caravan is fitted with 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. Handbrake is on a gas strut. To release the handbrake, press in and lay it down, and then to engage it, just pull it up, but make sure that you pull it all the way back, because obviously it will roll back if not. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, we have inserts for your legs. Now the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or alternatively you can get yourself a 19mm bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they're simply used for stabilisation. We're using test equipment today, so first up, got a plug in for the mains on this side, just plugs in, nice and simple. You can get Bailey specific ones if you like. The bulk of the other stuff is on the other side. So starting off first, I have an acroll full of clean drinking water and your water pump. To remove the pump, press in on the trigger on the top and pull out like so. See that this one has electrical pins as well. You have this white cap to go over the top of the acroll to ensure no nastiness gets in. And then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through and evade any sort of airlocks. Then to engage this in, press in, you'll hear it click, then it can't be removed without pressing in on that trigger. We then have your flue, which is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operated on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Then got my test gas bottle, which is propane. I'd always recommend propane over butane as it has a better performance in winter. Connected onto that is a black gas hose. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years, orange will run for 10. And that connects onto this regulator just here. Now what you want to do is hand tighten that as much as you physically can and then just give it a gentle nip up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as there is an O-ring inside the hose. With too much pressure on that it can cause it to crack and break and gas to leak out. There is also a capacity for 2 6-kilo bottles where they will then be strapped in. Motor mover will be gone over on collection. And then you have these 2 points here, where your wastewater will come out of from both your shower and your sink. You need 28.5mm waste pipe to feed into a waste master so you can empty out at the appropriate point. The last bit we have is your toilet function. So first up, your cassette. To remove it, press up on the orange handle and then pull out towards you. Now this handle as well will extend out and up and can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Then what you'll want to do is twist this head to the side, open up that cap like so. You'll then want to tilt it at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. My recommendation, as you can probably see there, is I open up this capacity, feed in some fresh water, give it a bit of a shake and again tilt and vent, just so it doesn't smell as bad. Then on this cap here you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, twist the cap back on, and then you'll want to push in the cassette so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth, as then it can't be removed without pressing up the orange handle. Above that we have your flush tank. This has a capacity of around 12 litres of water, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the capacity. You could also add some pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell nicer. However, if you are using pink chemical you only need about half a capful because it is concentrate. Too much pink chemical in the system can turn it to sludge, blocking up the propellers for it. Now you don't want to travel with either of these too full, So just to the side, got this little bung to drain out any remaining water from the flush tank. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave with it. Underneath the bed next to the fridge, you have your battery locker, which sits into the actual floor itself. Now, as it is a Bailey, you will need a leisure battery that is below 190 millimeters. You have this blue box, which is the equivalent of like the brain box for the motor mover. All your trips and fuses, all your trips in the upright position, and all your fuses in the correct position. I'd always recommend carrying some extra fuses across the van. The control for the actual motor mover is just there. And then if you come to the front just here, you have your boiler. Now, the boiler itself has all of these connections going to it and the ducting coming from it as well. And then you have this yellow drain valve. Facing in the position as it is now, that is allowing the flow of water to come in. However, switch it up to the vertical position and that will drain off any water inside the system. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the van, and anytime you come off site, give it a drain off as well. And to be honest, if you're not using the van, have it up. When you collect the caravan, that will be in the upright position. Just here we have your main control panel. So you have your main on and off button, you then have interior lights, and then you just have to use your respective switches across the van. Awning light, press that in, come to the outside. As you can see, it's on just there. You then have the amount of power coming into the van, which at the moment is 13.5 volt. As I'm plugged into mains, that's going to be the amount from the mains only. And then you have this switch here. So that is your water pump. What you would do is press that down. It would show a green light to show that water is being pulled through into the boiler, and it is also being pressurized. So whilst it's green, that is pressurizing the system. Wait for it to turn off green, come over to your tap, open up on both hot and cold, and run it for about 30 seconds. Just so you can make sure the water's coming through nice and evenly. So super simple: interior light, awning light, main on and off, power and pump. And then this is what you're after here. Nice steady continuous stream. You may get a couple of coughs and splutters to start off with, which is natural because there might be a bit of residual air left in the system. But this is what you're after: nice steady continuous stream on both hot and cold. If you do persist to have airlocks, check your drain valve, make sure the aqua is full of water, the pump is plugged in correctly, and the strainer is at the bottom of the barrel. You may want to weigh down the strainer so that it's always at the bottom. So what I'd recommend is 30 seconds of pulling it through. Once you've pulled it through, come back over to your little system here where you can just see a little bit of residual green, which I'll just show you again. So there's green there showing that water's coming back into the system and being pressurized. Okay, so we want to turn off the actual pump, come over to here, and then open up the drain valve. Do not open up the drain valve first, as that's just going to allow a load of air into the system. Then come over to your tap, open it up, so any residual water that's in the system will just get drained out, but just make sure that you remember that you've opened it. Same goes for your other tap and shower when you drain it off as well. Then here we have your Truma control panel. You have this dial, which is also a select button, and a back button just here. Screen is currently off at the moment because you can't see any text. So what you'll want to do is press in. It'll display the time, which is currently not 9:22, but just set it to the correct one. And it also shows me that mains is plugged in. First up, I have the motorhome with the thermometer in it because they use this panel for motorhomes as well. Press in on this, and this is for the temperature that you desire inside the caravan. So let's say I wanted it at 16 degrees, it's going to show the flame on top, and I press in to select. Next to that, we have water temperature. So off, eco, which will get it to 40 degrees, hot, which will get it to 60, or boost. Now what boost does, it prioritizes heating the actual water over heating the caravan. After 30 minutes, it will then drop itself back down to eco, which again, you can see appears on the top line, but if I don't select it, it doesn't come up. Next, we have energy source. So we've either got gas, mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt, mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt, strictly electric with 1 kilowatt, or strictly electric with 2 kilowatts. So you've got the choice of either gas, mains, or both. We then have fan speed just here, which is either eco or high. Eco is nice and steady, high is a lot more vigorous, and it's coming out of your vent across the van. However, if we do not have the heating on, turn it completely off and go back over to the fan, it's either off or vent. Now what vent does, it will circulate the air across the caravan, similar to the circulation setting in your car. So what you could do is have all of your windows open and draw through some nice fresh air. Then let's go to the bottom row. So this one here is a timer. You set first when you'd like the heating and hot water to come on, and then stop. So you first input the start time, hours then minute, end time, hours then minute. You have the correct time. So it is a 24-hour clock, so just select whatever the time is. When you completely shut down this panel and reopen it, you will have to put in the correct time again. And lastly, you have your settings. So I've set temperature, brightness, 12 or 24-hour clock, language, index, or reset. I'm not going to run through this as we have set this to what we believe the most user-friendly panel to use. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book packs, then please do so. Now, naturally, this screen will fade to green, but still display the text. And to turn it completely off, press and hold in, and it turns itself off. Make sure you do that first before you would come over here and turn off the actual switch, because otherwise it can trip. Just here we have your hob, grill and oven, all of which operates on gas, minus the electric plate. Electric plate, just spin to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else, physically press in on the dial, twist it to the side and press in on your igniter just here. Now it may be a case that these will light up and then cut out, or it may take a while to light up when you first come to use it. That is natural, that is gas making its way through the system. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit there. Back to the upright position. It's the same concept for the grill. There you can see grill all nice and lit. And finally your oven. Just make sure that these trays do not intrude on the igniter. And there you can see oven all nice and lit there as well. So only other real thing to note is that if you're travelling with a gas bottle, make sure it's turned off whilst travelling, and you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these burners are nice and cold. Just here we have your toilet capacity, which is bog simple. Lift up the lid, pressing the button on the side, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push any water through in the system. To remove the waste, press away on the handle, opens up the catch. Pull the catch back towards you so you can actually remove the cassette, and any time the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there telling you to empty.